Hello, everyone. I wanted to give you a brief introduction to our class and kind of walk you through Blackboard and where to find things. And so I'm going to do that now. You will see in the course orientation overview, if you click here, you're going to find first tasks. If you click on first tasks, it'll tell you everything that you need to kind of do. These are just basic instructions that you'll find probably for every online course that you take. Specific to this course is the syllabus. So if you click here, you can look at the syllabus. You can also use this button over here to download the syllabus if you'd like. Then you'll find the course overview. So this provides more specific information about SPE 602, including the textbooks. So we will be using Nario Redmond's Ableism, the Causes and Consequences of Disability Prejudice. And we will be using Tiffany Yu's The Anti-Ableist Manifesto. So you'll need both of those texts for this course. And then there's just some basic course policies. Next, you'll see the weekly course schedule. So this is where you'll see what is due each week, what the topic is, and what the assigned readings are. So for this week, week 1, we're going to get started with introducing stigma and ableism. You're going to read Nario Redmond chapter 1 and U chapters 1 through 4. And then there's some other material that's provided. I'll talk to you a little bit about these 2 assignments, critical summaries, and then reactions and reflections. And then I want you to start thinking about your disability representation analysis project. So these are some things for you this is something for you to think about. And then your weekly task is to create a virtual bulletin board introduction. So again, this is where you'll find what's due each week and what chapters you need to read, etc. Then you can find information about the point distribution, the grading scale here. So you'll have 6 critical summaries, 7 reaction and reflection assignments, 1 large assignment, which is the disability representation or policy analysis project. It says paper, it's not a paper, I'm going to remove that. And then there's just some miscellaneous things here and there. And then you'll see the grading scale here. Next. You'll see Discover Blackboard. If you're new to online courses, this might really help you. Let me unhide that. So this might really help you get familiar with Blackboard beyond what I'm providing to you. Okay, so, oops, it took us all the way back out. My apologies. Okay, so that's the course orientation and overview. Next, you'll see the assignments. So the Disability Representation Analysis Project, it's your larger project that you'll do as you're taking the course. So you'll be researching on your own and creating it throughout the course. And so if you click here, you'll find a folder that has the instructions and then the rough draft and then the final draft. These are the submission links, and you'll get more information about what is required for each of these when you open those links. So I'll talk more about the Disability Representation Analysis Project later. I just want you to be able to kind of see where everything is. Critical summaries are due for six of the 8 weeks. And this assignment is really just to kind of help you engage more deeply with the content, specifically related to the Nario Redmond text, because it's a little denser and it can be a little bit more complex. So I want to give you space to kind of unpack what you're learning or ask questions. And so you'll find the instructions for critical summaries here. So if you click here, it'll open the critical summaries, the purpose, the format, and how you submit. Then you'll see the same thing for the reaction and reflection. These 2 are a little bit different. The critical summary is really specific to the Nario Redmond text, whereas the reaction and reflection is kind of synthesizing all of the content, but also specifically related to the Tiffany Yu text. So it's a little bit more informal, and you have different options for how you complete the reaction and reflection. So I want you to think about how the content makes you feel. So the first part, the reaction, will be, how do you feel about what you're learning about and reading about in Tiffany Yu's text, and just watching the videos and all of the different things, the materials that are provided. So your reaction is just really emotional. So that first part is share your emotions, your emotional reaction to the content. The reflection part is let's unpack that emotion, right? So, and I will provide prompts to help you think through your reactions, your reflection portion. So I'll show you in week one more specifically in just a second. So this is where you'll find instructions for all of these assignments. Okay, and then each section is broken down by week. So week one, we're going to talk about stigma and ableism. And so if you open that, you'll see learning outcomes and required tasks. That's where you really want to start. So if you click on learning outcomes and required tasks, it's going to show you what the expectations are each week and then what you are expected to do. So for week one, you're going to add an introduction to our virtual bulletin board. You're going to read Nario Redmond chapter 1 and U chapters 1 through 4. The U text, the chapters are short, so and it's a much more easily digestible text. So one of the things I would say is like for the Redmond chapter, plan on an hour to get through it. That gives you time to think about it, highlight it, make notes about it. And then the U chapters are a much easier read. So you could probably get that done in like 30 minutes. Make sure that you're reviewing all the materials in week one. Really is just your virtual bulletin board this week. You are going to complete a reaction and reflection assignment and a critical summary. And then I want you to spend some time looking at the disability representations analysis project. I want you to start thinking about what you might want to do for that project. You don't have to have it identified, just I want you to kind of start thinking about it. So you'll find the Padlet here, if you click here, and then here are some video instructions to help you complete your Padlet and your introduction. Then it's broken, so each week is broken down into the materials folder and the assignments folder. So in the materials folder is where you'll find everything that you need. I'd like you to take a look at the introductory information about our textbook and our author. Tiffany Yu has a website, so you can kind of get to know her and why she wrote her book. She's really interesting. She's got some good podcasts as well. So you can take a look at that. And then I want you to watch Disabled Person or Person with a Disability because it's really focusing on how we talk about disability. There's another Person First or Identity First language, and this is specific to autistic people. So this is a really another good video to watch because some disabled people prefer Person First, and then some really prefer Identity First. So it's really important for you to know the difference between the two approaches. And then there's a short article about what is stigma. And then again, you'll read your two textbooks, and these are supplemental materials. And I want you to be thinking about when you do your critical summary, you're going to reflect back on, you're going to summarize the information from the Nario Redmond text and build in like any of the supplemental materials you might want to refer to in your critical summary or your reaction and reflection. So if you click on the assignments folder, your assignments will be right underneath there. So if we look at critical summary 1, I want you to, make sure you read Nario Redmond and then review all of the materials in the folder. And then I want you to define and explain stigma and ableism. I want you to explain the difference between internalized and institutionalized ableism. And then Nario Redmond presents an excerpt from a poem about ableism. And I want you to choose 3 of the ableism statements that she shares, explain what she means by them, and provide an example of how you've seen or experienced them in your life. And so your critical summaries are 30 points. There is a rubric that you can take a look at before you submit your assignment so you know kind of what I'm looking for. Okay, so it really is just content and overall quality. So take a look at that just to get a better idea of, what the expectations are. And then your reaction and reflection this week, it's the same instructions for your reaction every week. Summarize your reaction to the content presented this week. This should include your understanding of the concepts as they relate to your own feelings and experiences. So explain your initial reaction to the content using one sentence. It could be the content this week really surprised me, or the content this week really frustrated me. And then explain why the content makes you feel that way. Like what's bubbling up for you and why do you think it is? A lot of times our emotions are very much tied to our beliefs about disability or how we were raised to believe or socialized to believe about disability. So you're going to have, most students have emotional reactions to the content. And I'd like you to dig really deep. So it's not the same reaction every week. It could be, curiosity. It could be surprise. It could be frustration. It could be, inspiration. It could be motivational. So think about the emotions that the content's eliciting for you. And maybe you're having several emotional reactions. So share all of those. And then the reflection piece is, how has this week's material changed or reinforced your beliefs about disability? So in some of the weeks, the content's really going to challenge your beliefs about disability. Or if you're someone who already thinks about disability from a strengths-based perspective, it might just reinforce that for you. And then, we know how it makes you feel, and you kind of explained why in your reaction. You might want to elaborate a little bit here and give like specific examples, refer back to specific pieces of the book or the videos that really made you feel that way. So the reaction piece does not have to be long. If you're writing it, imagine that it's maybe a couple of sentences, possibly 3, and then really dig into it in your reflection. If you're recording it, which is perfectly fine, you can do video recorded reactions and reflections. That's great too. So you'd spend just a little bit of time with your reaction and really spend time in your reflection. And then what do you think about the information shared in the Anti-Ableist Manifesto? Really reflect on it, think critically about it. What's missing? Ask questions. Like, I really want you to go beyond surface level thinking about this content. And then Tiffany, you suggest that disability is not a bad thing. And I want you to explain why you agree or disagree with that statement. So your reaction and reflections, again, are less formal. I don't need you to use APA or in-text citations for this piece. It's more like a journal. It's intended to be less formal. So don't worry about, just don't worry about citing your sources. I know what your sources are. You can refer back to videos by title if you want to. I'm not grading you on citations, okay? So again, this is a journal, and it's intended to be kind of a space where you can kind of grapple with this information. Also, I want you to use the same document each time that you do this. So you could do an online Microsoft Word, you could do just Microsoft Word desktop, or if you're going to do videos, that's fine too. But I want you to keep all of your reactions and reflections on the same document so we can kind of chronicle your progress through this course. Okay, so think about it as an ongoing journal. Okay, so hopefully that helps you through the week 1 material, where to find things, how to submit things. Also, let me see if I can show you. It doesn't, yeah, see, it doesn't open for me the same way that it does for you, but there will be times when I ask you to add something in the comment box in the submission. So there's always a box that opens where you can add a little bit of a narrative. So use that space. If there's something you want me to know about your assignment, or something, if there's a particular area that you have questions about, make sure that you include that there so it's quick and I can see it and respond to you appropriately. Okay, so that's it for week 1, and the remaining weeks all look the same. You'll see the learning outcomes, required tasks, the materials, and the assignments. It's organized the same way throughout the entire Blackboard shell. So hopefully this is helpful, let you know where things are. If you have any questions at all, please do let me know. I'm definitely here to help you and guide you through this course. And I really want you to enjoy it. So if you're feeling frustrated or having difficulty with anything, please let me know.